The official opening of Derby County's Pride Park Stadium by the Queen on July the 18th, 1997 will be a day which will live long in the memory of Rams fans. The brand new stadium was filled to its 30,000 capacity for one of the most significant days in the football club's long and proud history. Here we look again at that unforgettable morning when Derby County unveiled their new home to the fans. And there's a story so far of a great start to the 1997-98 Premiership campaign, with goals galore home and away, right through to that epic Pride Park Stadium clash with champions Manchester United in October. But it's remarkable that just 46 weeks before the Queen's visit, Pride Park Stadium looked like this. September the 2nd, 1996, and the foundations are laid for the new stadium. The work on a reclaimed area of waste ground, once shortlisted for Britain's Millennium Exhibition, marks the end of several months of feverish negotiations. In the autumn of 1995, plans have been unveiled to redevelop Derby County's ageing baseball ground. But the club's directors took a surprise change of direction early in '96 and looked towards Pride Park. The decision to leave the old ground was always going to be a wrench, both for the club and their fans. The Rams' home for more than a century, the BBG was famed throughout the world of football for its unique atmosphere. Initial foundation work on the new stadium didn't have much of an impact on the Derby skyline. 2 months after work began, there still wasn't much to see at Pride Park. It's November 1996, and behind me contractors are working on Derby County Football Club's new stadium at Pride Park. By the time you see this video, in all probability the backdrop will have changed dramatically. By the summer of 1997, it will have changed beyond recognition as a new 30,000-seater stadium replaces the building site you now see. And how that backdrop changed as the new stadium rose out of the winter mists which swirled around Pride Park. Set in the best spot on the 50-acre site, the stadium began to take shape as 1997 dawned. Day by day, the £23 million development grew, taking on its futuristic look. And before long, the new stadium on Pride Park had become a Derby landmark. More than 70,000 people called in at the new Stadium Visitor Centre to keep a check on progress, as did Rams chairman Lionel Pickering.
You might as well arrive in style.
Hello. Hello there. How are you, Bluey? Bluey.
Hi, Chairman. How are you?
All right.
Are you ready for a look round?
A grand tour.
Grand conducted tour. I heard you say the other night, Chairman, that there's 29 improvements, and you're quite right. Car parking, offices, playing accommodation space, the restaurants and the boxes, all substantial. Segregation for away supporters. That's
Boardroom.
Boardroom, yes. One of the things they said was the actual size of these shops at Newcastle, Blackburn, Wolves is about 2,500 square feet. We've got 2,700 square feet.
Oh yeah.
So we've got our shop a bit better than all, just a touch better, or at least on a par with them.
Well, the bigger the better.
That's right,
Sure.
that's right.
It's like a store, isn't it?
By March 1997, Vice Chairman Peter Gadsby, the director in charge of the development, was pleased with the way things were going.
You can see now we're well into the programme. The stadium itself is more than halfway finished, and the site is a 50-acre site, of which 26 acres is the stadium, and there's a further 30 acres which will be the training ground.
And the scheme started in earnest in November, really, but it's developed as it's gone along.
Yes, it has. Each time that we've put the corporate side out, it's shown there's a huge demand. The pub is going to be a very important feature, and then we have the leisure facilities which will follow on. This means that the fans will be able to come and spend an hour before the game and probably an hour or two after the game, and the revenue will help us to become a self-supporting club and give us far more than just a simple football. It will have many amenities that I'm sure the fans nowadays will want to have.
On three sides, the north, east and south stands emerged, forming a horseshoe. And also taking shape was the superb main stand, with its changing rooms and swish hospitality suites. Though not part of the first phase of development, work was also starting in the northwest corner, which would bring additional seats, lounges and executive boxes to the stadium by the autumn. Meanwhile, undersoil heating and an automatic watering system were being installed on the new pitch, which, as Rams players would soon discover, was somewhat larger than the baseball ground. By the time the fans started to arrive at Pride Park Stadium well before 8 o'clock on the morning of July the 18th, steelwork weighing at 2,300 tonnes had gone into the fabulous new construction. Add to that 5,000 tonnes of precast concrete and 17,000 square metres of roofing, and the supporters of Derby County really had something to cheer about. Among many famous faces, the opening of the stadium attracted members of the government and even the voice of football. But this was more than anything a day for the kids, and with the Queen's scheduled 10:10 morning appointment still 2 hours away, the atmosphere created by the 10,000 school children in the stadium could not have been bettered. From the word go, Buckingham Palace had insisted that this was not a day for pomp and ceremony. There were to be no speeches and no national anthem. It was to be a happy and relaxed occasion, and the Derby Serenaders did their bit to entertain a first-day crowd that was growing by the minute. Soon the Pride Park Stadium crowd was cheering with admiration as the Red Devils skydivers floated in, wearing the Rams' new 1997-98 kit. Other entertainers and groups involved in the day showcased the diverse talents of Derbyshire people. School children, musicians and members of that 1946 FA Cup winning side all formed part of the celebrations. If the ceremony staged to bid farewell to the baseball ground struck a reflective note, this occasion was designed to herald the dawn of an exciting new era. "45 minutes to go until the Queen's arrival, and Derby County's players and manager Jim Smith took to the pitch for the first time. While the Rams players went off to change into their new playing strip, 5 young ladies sporting the familiar kit of the Spice Girls kept the crowd well and truly entertained. Ten minutes to go and the atmosphere was electric as the Rams stars re-emerged. Everyone took up their positions and the red carpet treatment began. Outside the stadium, the Queen's car approached, and everyone was in place to receive the royal party. Inside, meanwhile, the mood was a little more informal as everyone shared in the fabulous Pride Park version of the Mexican wave. While the crowd warmed up in the stadium, back outside the Queen was getting ever closer. In the main reception area, civic dignitaries were presented to the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. Finally, it was the turn of Derby County's Vice Chairman Peter Gadsby and Chairman Lionel Pickering.
I still can't believe that Her Majesty the Queen of all people and the Duke came to Derby County and met all the players, and we actually rode around in the Land Rover with it. It's just unbelievable. You associate the Queen with other people, don't you, with the big mighty events, and it's really nice, a nice compliment, as I've said in the programme, to football and to Derby County in particular, that she should come along. I was dead calm until 20 minutes before she arrived. I was feeling quite relaxed. Everybody told me, I've met quite a few people who met the Queen and said this is what a charming, friendly sort of person she was, that she would put me at my ease, and I was reassured by that. But all of a sudden, 20 minutes to go, my throat went suddenly very dry, and I had to nip inside and have 2 glasses of tea, two cups of tea, not 2 glasses of scotch or whatever. So I had 2 cups of tea, and I was right after that. And she was everything they said, a gentle, friendly and smiling person. And I can't really remember what we said either. It was just a bit of a blur. I've watched some of the video, and I can see that we seem to have said quite a lot to each other, but it's funny, I just don't remember too much about it.
Rams manager Jim Smith escorted the Queen down the line of Derby County players. This was a moment to savour for club skipper Robin van der Laan.
Well, it was brilliant, you know. It was Friday morning and it was a sellout, so what more can you ask? It was nice to meet the Queen as well. It's obviously, for a Dutchman especially, you're never going to think you're ever going to do that. So it was a special day for everybody.
It was just as it should be, informal and fun. So much so that the Queen even found time to ask Rams manager Jim Smith the date for the first game.
Our first game is over for Ford against Sampdoria. That's when we first open the stadium for a minute, and our first home game is in 12th of August. It's never ending.
More players and officials to meet. Splendid is the Queen's verdict on Derby County's new home.
Would you like to now officially open the stadium match?
Now it's on to the commemorative plaque. And guided by Rams chairman Lionel Pickering, Pride Park Stadium is officially open. The photographers capture every moment as the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh join Jim Smith and Lionel Pickering for a tour of the ground. The tour of the ground begins, but soon the car stops off to take on board gifts of Rams shirts for the Princes William and Harry. It's the end of 18 months of planning as the Queen witnesses the completion of one of the most prestigious developments undertaken in the city of Derby during the past 2 decades. Soon the Queen's car is literally overflowing with flowers. All too soon the tour was over. But there's still time to meet Chairman's wife Marcia Pickering, who presents a gift to the Queen, a locally made white gold brooch in the shape of a ram. And also to commemorate the occasion, a specially commissioned photograph of the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh was duly signed by the royal visitors. And finally, there's an impromptu meeting with the 3 surviving members of Derby County's 1946 FA Cup final squad: Reg Harrison, Jimmy Bullions and Angus Morrison. The Queen left Pride Park Stadium having added her name to a large slice of the club's proud history.
the balloon release as well. Lots more fun and games and things are wrapping up in around an hour's time.
But the show wasn't over yet, and inside the entertainment was leading up to a 1,500 grand parade of individuals and groups connected with Derby County. Rubbing shoulders with Disney characters were youngsters from the Rams Centre of Excellence and the club's thriving soccer academies. The Supporters Association branches were there too. Even the FA Cup was on show. The old First Division Championship trophy was on display too, won twice by the Rams in the 1970s. Then the Red Devils skydivers flew in for a second time to officially present Derby County's new flag to Rams chairman Lionel Pickering.
Present you with the flag of Derby County that we've just jumped in there by Corporal Waterhouse. Excellent, thank you very much.
Then the balloons went up and the party was over. It had been a day to remember at Pride Park Stadium. Two weeks on, and Jim Smith's squad lines up for the 1997-98 Premiership campaign.
And the big camera, fellas, please.
In the team picture for the first time is Stefano Iranio, a summer signing from AC Milan. Jonathan Hunt too, who joins the Rams from Birmingham City. Dion Burton still to arrive from Portsmouth, but on the front row is Chicho Baiano. Jim Smith's summer signing from Fiorentina for £1.5 million will soon make a big impact on Derby County. Robbie van der Laan's in the driving seat. And Chicho shows he's got everything well under control.
Yeah, we had a first look at him today in training, and he looks very sharp and, you know, quick. Very small, like Juninho small, but he's got the touch and he can score goals, and you know what we've seen of him this morning, he looks very sharp.
With a little help from his interpreter, Chicho meets the press for the first time. And they want to know what persuaded him to join Jim Smith at Derby County.
Perché volevo fare una nuova avventura e spero che vada tutto bene.
I wanted to make a new start, a new adventure, and hope that it will all go well.
Well, he's obviously a very experienced striker,
his goal record in one of the hardest leagues in the world to score goals is excellent. He's quick, intelligent, and as I say, a goal scorer. We always felt we needed an out-and-out experienced striker, and along with Jonathan Hunt, who's come in, Iranio, and also you've got to remember that One Chop, Solis and Paul Moore came just before the deadline, so I regard them as new players. So in terms of, I think we've got an outstanding, exciting squad.
A sellout pre-season match against Sampdoria of Italy, the first to be staged at Pride Park, saw the Rams go down 1-0. But the new Cosmopolitan Derby County are ready for the challenge which lies ahead.